It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Throws, ends it, yes! Caught! Touchdown, did he get it?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker. Welcome on in to another edition of the Full Court Press on Friday, February 10th, and been a busy day. Still trying to figure out everything that has happened with the NBA trade deadline, moves by the Utah Jazz and others, Utah State hitting the road to take on another conference opponent, an opponent that played them tough last time. We'll see if tomorrow is going to be any different or if Utah State can do a little bit better, especially on their interior rebounding. We'll got a schedule of high school games tonight. We'll tell you who's playing where, how you can follow along, watch, listen, and look ahead to the weekend with the Super Bowl this weekend. And I guess if you want to weigh in, give a Super Bowl prediction, we'll love to take that. It doesn't necessarily have to be the final score. It could be something else that you predict will happen over the course of the Super Bowl broadcast. We'll put it that way.
There's always those prop bets, like how long is the national anthem gonna take? Like, I do have to ask, how much of a degenerate gambler do you have to be to bet on how long the national anthem is gonna last? It's an actual prop bet that happens on a yearly basis.
Yes. I mean, we should probably look it up some point. Maybe, but I don't know that I will. But
like prop bets,
the number of weird prop bets that exist around the Super Bowl is crazy.
Yeah, it's just like, who throws the first touchdown, which, like, I don't know. I have it thinking about gambling anyway, where so much of it is dumb, and so many people who gamble shouldn't be. There's ways to make money on gambling, but it has to be a full-time job for you to be able to be good at it.
Yes.
And so the number of people, like even sports radio hosts, guys like you and me, that are betting on, stuff and they lose money. You lose money gambling, it's how it's going to happen. So it's just like, I don't know. It's just, it's part of why I'm probably never going to gamble. Or maybe I will at some point just for the fun of it and say I did it. But it's just like, there's too many people who go into it with the attitude of, and that's the way it is with sports gambling, because one, it ruins the event for you. And I guess for some people it's the opposite. They feel like they can't get into an event without gambling on it.
Right.
Which, if that's the case, then, like, are you actually a fan? Like, the only way you can be invested is if you personally have something at stake and just enjoy the thing.
Yeah.
But it's just, for me, having that kind of stake ruins it for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's you're not focusing on just the joy of watching the game.
Yeah,
and there's some elements of it I could understand that could be entertaining. I mean, I don't bet on sports, but I understand though certain aspects of it could be entertaining. You may be paying attention to a game or parts of a game that otherwise you would normally not care about. But at the same time, I think I see people get so wrapped up in what's going on with if it's going to swing one way or another because you have money on the line rather than just enjoying the game for what it is.
Yeah, like if you're watching a game because you've got Eagles plus 3 point, whatever the line is, I was just thinking any random game, one team plus 3.5, whatever, like, that's the only reason you're watching. To me, that's a little depressing. And to be honest, if you have that kind of fix, just play fantasy football. It's the same,
it's the same effect.
Yeah, it's the exact same. It's part of why I think I would hate gambling, because fantasy football almost ruins watching the NFL for me. Because I pick out, all right, which of these guys do I have on my roster? Throw the ball to him. When one team scores, I'm mad that they didn't throw to my guy or run the running back that I have. So it's like, I know I'd hate gambling because I play fantasy football, and it's the exact same type of thing. But that's my PSA against gambling for the day.
There you go. That's good. 435-339-0321 if you want to chime in on the Full Court Press today. Love to hear from you. I always love to get the interaction from the audience. Have you guys weigh in or ask questions about what's going on, whether it's previewing Utah State, the latest standings in the Mountain West, what's going on with the Utah Jazz or the NBA, because there is news there, by the way. It's big news regarding a particular Jazz player today. But whatever you want to weigh in on, we'd love to hear from you. By the way, besides the high school basketball games that are going on, I understand that it's the state tournament for high school wrestling is taking place this weekend. So best of luck to our high school wrestlers from this area. I know that there are some great ones, and highly rated wrestlers in different weight categories. So best of luck to our high school wrestlers participating in the state tournaments this weekend. They are, where I can't remember exactly where they are. Somewhere central Utah, I believe, is where those are taking place. So best of luck to the teams from here and individuals that will be competing. 435-339-0321 if you want to chime in. Got a text from 9315, came in before the show, so we'll see what we get here. Thought I would bring this up, seeing as how a random person yesterday texted into the Full Court Press about all we talk about is Utah State, the best university in Utah. Did you see YBU lost to Pepperdine, the bottom team in the West Coast Conference? There, we talked more than the Aggies today. P.S. This is not the radio station for the kitty from that school down south. Okay. Also, maybe a Bronco fan is there not getting into the Pac-12. Now we talked about two things other than the best university in the Mountain West. And then 9315 has all the jokes. And then if you don't want shots fired, go after the two great hosts of the show and the best Aggie station there is. Oh, don't go after. Okay. There we go.
Still getting on one of the texters yesterday. He wasn't happy about our content.
Like, yeah, they weren't happy that we talked a lot about Utah State basketball and the Jazz.
To be fair, there's more that we can talk about now, especially because Utah State softball getting underway today. They've already they played two games. They play a doubleheader, and I was actually just looking up the other team that started today for the Aggies, the one I know all of you are obsessed with, men's golf.
Ah, yes.
Utah State playing in an invitational today. I think it goes over. Yeah, it goes today through, I think Sunday. Sunday's the 12th, right? Yeah.
Does that seem a little bizarre? It's February 10th. And golf season is starting.
Well, they're in St. George. It's always golf season in St. George. This is prime golfing in St. George.
That's I really should have focused more on golf when I was in high school. Can you imagine playing golf at university level, and in the middle of winter you get to go play golf somewhere else and spend time? You got to do warm-ups and get dust it off, work on your driver, your short game. Can't do it here, so you have to go somewhere else to get it done.
Yeah, but there are 10 teams in this invitational. Utah State leading the pack. They're at -10 as a team. Second place is Utah Valley at -8, and everyone else is like 4, 5, 6 more strokes back. So it's Utah State, Utah Valley at the top there, the end of round one.
Nicely done.
And I'll update you on the softball stats once I look them up.
5654 also texting in, are the Utah Jazz keeping Russell Westbrook?
That is something I think we need to have a discussion on today. And I'll be honest, I've been on record for something like 2 weeks now, or every time this has come up, saying I do not want Russell Westbrook on this team. I may be halfway through a change of mind. I'm still not sure, but I think I can at least make a case to where you might want to keep Russell Westbrook. And there's part of me that, likes this case. There's part of me that doesn't, because mind you, I've been for weeks now, if the Jazz get Russell Westbrook, buy him out, send him packing, don't want him on the team. There are reasons for that. But I think there is a case for Russell Westbrook to be on the team. We can get into that a little bit later.
It's a little uncertain if he will play or not, although apparently there's some conversation that could happen. But Utah Jazz, yes, they did today make it official. Juan Toscano Anderson, they shared some stuff that he is officially signing with the Jazz. And Damian Jones as well. So they made those trades official today, which was kind of odd that it took so long. But besides that, the other they did send some thank you messages on social media to Mike Conley and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Certainly with Mike Conley, special because he became an all-star for the first time as a Jazz player. He participated in the three-point shootout for the first time, made it to the finals. And it was just between he and Steph Curry, and it came down to one shot whether he would have won the three-point shootout as an all-star with the Utah Jazz. So he had a great career with Utah.
Not to mention his greatest accomplishment in a Jazz uniform. Well, I'm not sure if he was wearing a Jazz uniform at the time. Winning a game of horse.
Oh, yeah. Yes, he was.
During the COVID break.
He was a Jazz player at the time. That's true.
That's his greatest accomplishment. No, but he really became a beloved player here in Utah, despite the fact that probably most people will ultimately see him as, a Memphis Grizzly. That's what most people will think of.
Yeah.
But the Jazz will also have, certainly a place in their hearts for Mike Conley. It's almost a little bit like Jeff Hornacek, where I think Hornacek spent more years of his career away from Utah, if I'm not mistaken, than he did in Utah.
That's probably true.
I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. But Jerry Sloan has his jersey retired in Chicago. So there's, of course, he's a little more iconic in Utah.
Well,
but
he was there as a player, and that's
why his jersey's retired there. But so Conley could be more similar to Jeff Hornacek, where he's beloved here for a specific reason. Maybe the rest of the NBA world might remember him in a different jersey. I don't know if that's quite the case with Hornacek because his more notable years were in Utah. And he was part of a couple finals teams, but
true.
It's kind of like that.
But not to leave these guys short either, but Utah also made some tribute videos for Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt. 4 players shipped out from Utah. And, these were guys that certainly Connolly's been here for a while, and so we've had more time to watch him and appreciate how good of a player he was. But some of these other guys, for me, particularly Malik Beasley, kind of tough to see him go. Just seeing him develop and really shine as a three-point dead-eye shooter and can improve his game and be an important part of this team and how they were going up until the trade deadline, where they were a playoff team.
Yeah. It's always hard to ship off good players, but you did it for a reason.
Yep.
There's a reason we shipped them off.
And it's interesting looking at some of the different national publications grading all of these NBA trade deadline deals that happened. A lot of them give high marks to the Utah Jazz. And while I know just in conversations I've had, water cooler stuff, neighborhood, friends, whatever, a lot of folks around here kind of upset with some of the moves that were made. But if you can step back and take a broader view of what Utah's doing, it really wasn't that bad of a deal. I would have thought they probably could have got a little bit more in exchange for what they gave up. But this is about a franchise that's building for the future and positioning itself to be very aggressive, not just in this offseason, but in off seasons to come.
I think the issue with the trade is we were led to believe these players were worth more, and the market dictated that they weren't. It very much felt like a buyer's market in that the prices weren't that high in the end for a lot of guys, and teams were willing to settle for maybe less than what they were really thinking they were going to sell for. And apparently everyone wanted to use second-round picks. There were probably like 38 different first-round picks that flew, or second-round picks that started flying. A lot of guys going for 5 second-round picks. They'd rather give up 5 second-round picks than just a first, which, granted, second-round picks are kind of worthless anyway. You really just use them to trade for players. Like the Jazz did with Jordan Clarkson. You trade Dante Exum a second, you get Clarkson. But that's why, like, when I first saw the trade, I was like, I feel like they didn't get very much. They ended up giving up a second-round pick or two, only getting a protected first. Granted, it's lightly protected for all three of Conley, Beasley, Vanderbilt. When we were at one point led to believe the Jazz were asking for a first for each of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the market dictated they just weren't worth that much. And so in the end, it's, do you want them to stay? And that's kind of another reason why some have got upset, is that even though I at the beginning of the year was like, trade everyone, tank the heck, tank to the bottom and back. To me, it was, I fell in love with the team. And so when you see them go, it's upsetting in a way. You loved watching the team. We all talked about how fun it was to watch Jazz basketball again for a while, even when they started losing a little bit. It was just so much fun to watch these guys playing with each other. Now the band's broken up a little bit. It's not going to be the same.
Yeah, no, that's true. But you have to keep this in mind too. And I'm really with you in that the way they started, we quickly fell in love with this team. Like, they were exciting, they were fun to watch. They were a national story for a while. Just that how well they were doing, beating good teams, exciting basketball. Didn't have egos with big stars, and it was really fun to watch. And then we became invested in them real quickly. But after they had that 10-3 start, they have gone 17-26 since that time. So they have struggled a lot. Now, there was a stretch there where a lot of those losses were by a possession or less, where it just be less than 5 points. It could be anybody's game in the final seconds. And the thought was, well, we're watching this team learn from this, develop young players in a winning culture, or at least a culture that's trying to fight for something. It will be interesting to see what happens now moving forward. I think it'll be hard for this team to still be in the playoff hunt with particularly Conley and Beasley out of the mix. The other two, Nickeil Alexander-Walker had moments where he helped the team, but by and large had fallen out of rotation. Vanderbilt had his moments on the court where he was a regular rotation guy, but debatable how much he really helped the team. So it's really Conley and Beasley out of the mix that weren't really replaced. We haven't really seen Juan Toscano-Anderson and Damian Jones, how they can help the team or not, but based on what their previous performance looks like, they're not anything close to what the Jazz gave up.
Yeah, so I had something I was going to say and I forgot it.
But one thing the Utah Jazz on their official social accounts have done, as I mentioned, they had these tributes to those players who are no longer here. They also put together official pictures and some statements welcoming in officially Damian Jones and Juan Toscano-Anderson, but they haven't said anything about Russell Westbrook yet.
And the rumor, I think, that I saw, it came from, or I should say the report that came from Woj. I guess he's not really a guy you hear rumors from. You say reports for him. This isn't randoms on Twitter. But the report seems to be that they're going to be engaging in buyout talks. They put out the, I don't know how much of this is PR, but they put out the line that, Westbrook's, willing to play with the Jazz. That's, they're open to all possibilities. I don't know if that's real or just PR, because you're going to say that even if Russell Westbrook is over there saying, I would rather die than play in Utah. I don't know if that's the case, but if that were, he would still put out that he's willing to play in Utah because you just got to play that game.
Right.
So I don't know how real the possibility is of Westbrook playing here. The fact that he wasn't introduced is perhaps a bit of an indicator. And, he's not going to be playing in some of these games because they're going to do buyout talks apparently as soon as I guess today. Today's Friday.
Yeah, because there's word that Patrick Beverley, he's been bought out and he's engaged with discussions. I think I saw something about Orlando potentially.
I thought that's where he got sent.
Was it? Maybe that's where
he
he's
got
being
traded.
bought out. Yeah, he did get traded. Well,
because he got traded to Orlando. They sent Mo Bamba back.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
I don't know if I haven't looked at the buyout market at all. I don't know if the Jazz are going to do anything there, but mainly because they got two players back. They got Damian Jones, so I don't know if he'll be in the rotation or not. We'll see. you got Kessler and Olynyk. That pretty much sets up your big man rotation.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're both starting together, it can make it a little iffy. You kind of need another center. That's where Vanderbilt was, actually. A lot of times he'd fill in as that, center if you needed to sit both Olynyk and Kessler on the bench for a minute so you can close with those two. I don't know. We'll see. By the way, since I didn't mention earlier, update, so Utah State softball starting today. They're currently in a 1-0 game with Cal State Fullerton. The Aggies are currently being no-hit. They've given up 5 hits. But it's a 1-0 game, so top of the 5th. Still got a chance.
There you go. By the way, Eric Walden from the Tribune saying that Russell Westbrook playing in Utah has not been ruled out. So, but that was about an hour ago. But the Chicago Bulls, according to an ESPN insider, seem to be the front runner in signing Westbrook if the Jazz do buy him out.
Yeah. And I think next segment I want to get into my case for Westbrook staying. But we should probably get some of these texts before we move on to that. Had one from 5338. So on behalf of the 5338 Sports Re-Education Academy and Think Tank, I would like to welcome Tavita Finau to the USU football coaching staff. I wonder, though, how will he balance coaching college football and playing the PGA Tour at the same time?
And not to be confused with Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be nice if Tony Finau came to... I'd prefer to coach golf at Utah State.
Yeah, I know. That would be something.
But he's a BYU grad. He'd probably more likely... I don't know if BYU has a golf team or not. But.
I'm sure they probably do.
8968 says, I realize you guys talk a lot about the Aggies. Thank goodness. To everyone else, especially down south, the Aggies don't exist. If you talked about the Utes and Cougars especially, I would not listen. Yeah, we only talk about the Utes and Cougars when they come around here.
Right. In opposition.
It's about the only time they're relevant.
5654 texting in, are the Utah Jazz going to look at anyone in the buyout market?
I think
Did you already answer that?
I kind of did on accident.
Well, their roster size may dictate that they have an opportunity to.
Since they brought 2 players back, and if they don't bring Russell Westbrook, if they buy him out, they might bring on somebody. They might start signing guys to 10-day contracts maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I think since they got a couple players back, they probably won't as much.
They shipped 4 and got 2 in return, essentially, if Russell gets bought out.
Yeah, and if Russell comes back, then you traded 3 for 3. So you sent out Conley, Beasley, and Vanderbilt.
And Nikhil Alexander-Walker.
So you get 4 for 3. Excuse me. So, they could, but I don't think they will. Like I said, 10-day contracts are probably more likely in this case because at that point, you're just throwing your reel in the water over and over and hoping something bites. But
right.
Most of the time, it's just going to be a boot.
I think it's going to still be important for this team to have a philosophy of developing their young guys in a good culture. So I think they'll still want to have a roster of players who can be competitive and will be good culture guys. So it wouldn't surprise me if they did still sign some veteran or some other player out there who is on the market to fill a roster and to fill a specific need that this team might have after the players that have been vacated. But who that is or who that could be, I'm not sure. I need to look at a list and of course that's going to be developing still over the next day or two about players getting bought out and will be available free agents for the remaining of the season. But I would think that Utah would find probably maybe just one player, but it could also be like you said, they just go the 10-day route and just go through the end of the season just using what they have and fill in vacancies as they become available.
Yeah, so in my opinion, there's not really going to, if there was a guy like where you're saying, a guy who can just fill a role, maybe be a veteran, if there's that guy out there, the Jazz might want him, but that player may not want to sign with Utah. They may be looking to fill a spot in a contender. So I don't think the Jazz will be able to find that guy, even if they are there. So really at that point, you're just looking for depth. If you need a guy because you're only running 8-9 man rotations.
Right, they're thin at point guard now.
Yeah, and so if you need depth, you sign a 10-day dude. Maybe he gets to live out his dream and play a couple of games or extend his career slightly longer. Play a few games, for depth. Just have guys out there who can actually play NBA minutes. If you get lucky on a guy, I guess, but it's mostly just going to be having bodies on the roster at this point because you're not really finding real value in any buyout or 10-day guys unless you get stupidly lucky.
All right, a quick timeout here in the Full Court Press. Love to continue to get your texts and reactions, 435-339-0321. We'll hear comments from Coach Ryan Odom a little bit later on. Utah State's on the road in Mountain West Conference play, trying to rebound after a close and disappointing loss against San Diego State on Wednesday. And looking ahead to everything else going on this weekend, if you've got a prediction for Super Bowl Sunday, we'll love to get that as well. 435-339-0321.
It's cold outside, but you can keep warm inside with a quality-built, super-efficient York furnace. Count on a furnace from York because it's backed by the strongest warranties available. It's just another way we install confidence. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, at 752-7272. Online at advancedheating-ac.com. York, install confidence.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
This Valentine's Day, surprise your sweetheart with a watch from S.E. Needham Jewelers. You'll find competitive price and a large selection of Seiko, Citizen, Fossil, and Tissot watches. We provide impeccable service with our professional watch technicians. To top it off, all watches purchased at S.E. Needham Jewelers come with free lifetime battery replacement, free watch band adjustment, and free gift wrap. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7. A Needham watch on every wrist. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
We're heading into some crazy weather this winter, which means power outages. Tyler and his team at Golden Spike Electric can install a Generac automatic standby generator for your home so you can avoid issues when the power goes out. If you have one already, Golden Spike Electric can maintain your Generac automatic standby generator for you. Find them online at gsegenerators.com or call 435-257-3016. Golden Spike Electric and Generac automatic standby generators. Power you can count on.
Happy birthday to our favorite appliance expert, Daryl. This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. It's Daryl's birthday and we're celebrating in style. Come on down to Daryl's and enter to win a brand new microwave. This week only, get a limited edition Daryl's t-shirt with purchase. That's not all. We're also bringing out Daryl's very own Harley. It'll be on display in our showroom for the week. Come on down and celebrate with us. Don't miss out on the birthday specials happening now at Daryl's Appliance, west on Airport Road.
What's more important than sleep? Granted, some things are, but not many. This is Ryan at My Mattress, and here we offer the best solution to better sleep, a better mattress. IntelliBed, the gel mattress, cradles your hips and shoulders while providing the best back support possible. Or come in and choose a Tempur-Pedic that boasts 93% of their owners love their bed. My Mattress, offering the best sleep possible by the South Walmart.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
Sunday, the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles square off in Super Bowl 57. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join me and the rest of our Westwood One crew from Arizona for all the action. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are hoping to win a second title in 4 seasons for Kansas City. But the Philly faithful are hoping this one can be as special as their last Super Bowl 5 years ago. If it's Super Bowl 57, it's right here.
Pre-game begins at 3 with kickoff at 4:30 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
It's the Full Court Press, weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker here on the Full Court Press. 435-339-0321 if you want to chime in. Other news regarding the Utah Jazz. As we're getting closer to the All-Star weekend, they have announced it's getting closer to realizing who is and is not available to participate due to injury. And there are a couple players who will not be available for the All-Star weekend. So, notably, Zion Williamson. Who are the others? Now I'm blanking on who the others were. Oh, Steph Curry
and Kevin Durant, right?
And Kevin Durant, yes. So in their stead, a couple different players will be taking their place, and that will include Joel Embiid, who'll be elevated as a starter. John Morant. So Embiid would take Durant's place. John Morant would take Steph Curry's place. And Lauri Markkanen will be named as a starter, replacing Zion Williamson.
I believe, if what I've seen on Twitter is correct, that's the first All-Star starter the Jazz have had since Karl Malone in, I think, 98 it was. So a long time ago. It's been a while.
Really, that long ago?
So not Darren Williams, not Gordon Hayward, not Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert. It's Lauri Markkanen. This is the first All-Star starter since Mr. Malone.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it really is special because I know there was one guy who was in a group chat I'm in where he was like, I know it hasn't helped the tank, but he's just like, the fact that Markkanen is a starter is special. And for me, I completely agreed where it's like, I don't know if I could have withstood, despite the fact that I've kind of been in favor of a tank and especially was in favor of a tank earlier, this team not going to win more than 25 games, we're going to tank, we're going to get the number one pick. But, with the benefit of hindsight, I don't know if I could have done it nearly as well, handled the season nearly as well if we didn't have someone like Lauri Markkanen just lighting it up and becoming an all-star like this. It really is nice. And another bit, Lauri Markkanen's going to be in the three-point contest too.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't seen that they had announced that.
Yeah, I think somebody mentioned that. And so I don't know if it was officially announced, but I believe I saw it from somebody that I trust.
I know the Utah Jazz were really making a push to get Malik Beasley into the three-point shootout. If he still makes it in, even if he's wearing a Lakers jersey, I think there'd be a lot of locals cheering him on in that arena.
No. It was actually Tony Jones who said Lauri Markkanen, so it was a source that I was trying to remember who reported. I was like, it was somebody that I trusted. I was like, oh yeah, it's Tony Jones. I trust his reporting. Because I took it with, as an absolute certainty when I saw it. So, but I was trying to remember, wait, where did I see that?
So that's exciting for Lauri Markkanen. Now, so the skills challenge, the Utah Jazz, since they are the host of the All-Star Weekend, they'll be able to put together their own team of 3 players. It's unknown who the Jazz will name to that team. They're probably still trying to figure out who their team is now at this point. But with Lauri involved with other events, he's probably not going to be involved. So would it be Jordan Clarkson? I would imagine he would probably be in the mix. Who else would join Jordan Clarkson, do you think?
For what?
What is it that they do? There's one of the events where they have different groups, and you have a team from the home team that participates. Maybe it's not the skills challenge, 'cause that's an individual.
Well, there's like a skills challenge-esque thing, but it's usually like some player, oftentimes some celebrity, and then maybe, I don't know, some kind of fill-in. I remember, I think sometimes you'll have like a NBA player, maybe a former NBA player, and then like a WNBA player or something like that. The Jazz may not be able to do that. Like maybe they could bring in like somebody from Real Salt Lake to be part of that. Yeah, because they'll do a bunch of random little challenge things. Like one of the ones I remember watching actually was something like that, and Chris Bosh was involved, and he hit like back-to-back half-court shots. Not like they were rotating between people doing, or like they did 2 rounds where you had to make shots here, there, and then the final one was half-court. And like in both rounds, Chris Bosh hit like the first half-court shot he tried. It was pretty fun that he managed to do that. But yeah, I don't know who would be on a team like that. You'd probably just say, yeah, Jordan Clarkson. Like I said, someone from Real Salt Lake, I don't know, Demir Krylak, or I don't know if he's...
Well, so last year, in the skills challenge, it was the team Cavs had Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and Jarrett Allen.
Okay, so if it has to be NBA players,
I imagine it's NBA players.
Then you'd probably go Clarkson, Sexton.
Because it looks like guard, forward, center. There.
Does it have to be guard, forward, center?
I don't. It seems like it has been.
Because it's guard, forward, center. Okay, then I don't know if you can reuse Lauri Markkanen yet again.
Well, Kessler's going to be doing the Rising Stars thing.
Yeah, but for a skills challenge center thing, you want to go with Olynyk for that one. Because Kessler's good, but skills challenge isn't necessarily. He's more, block and rebound and
unless you need speed as part of it, then
yeah. In that case, you'd probably go with him because he's good at running the floor and he's got great footwork. But while all of those things make him a really great center, it does not make him necessarily a good skills challenge participant, especially if there's shooting involved. You'd want to go with Olynyk there. He's got a little bit more, his skill set is a little bit more inclined towards a skills challenge. So you'd go Clarkson and Olynyk. I mean, if you could reuse Markkanen, you'd put him. You definitely want him in there. But I guess if maybe at that point he's like too busy to be doing all of these things, like who else would you put in there? I'm suddenly like Rudy Gay, I guess. Just throw him in there for
Colin
kicks and
Sexton.
Like I said, if it has to be, I don't know if it's guard, forward, center, because then you'd have 2 guards.
Well, I guess that's true.
So like I'm not sure. It depends on what the exact criteria. Because if it is sort of fluid, you could go with Sexton, Clarkson, and Olynyk. That'd be pretty good. But yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Ochai Agbaji, maybe.
Maybe.
Another text here from 5654. If San Diego State leaves the Mountain West, who would the conference go after to replace them? Yeah, so there really seems to be a lot more smoke here about this because Pac-12 Commissioner George Kliavkoff had like a 45-minute meeting with San Diego State president here just recently. Also made a visit to SMU, which is a little baffling based on all the criteria we've heard in the past about what makes a Pac-12 school and what doesn't. The fact that they would even consider SMU is kind of laughable. But that's, things have changed. This world has changed. Their dynamics have changed. But it looks like those are the 2 schools most likely to leave to the Pac-12. There's rumors swirling that the Big 12 is, especially with this Texas and Oklahoma leaving early and giving $100 million to the Big 12 to leave early, that the Big 12 may be looking for other teams, especially in the mountain-ish time zone, to help BYU and to add just more inventory for them. So would they go after Colorado State, Boise State, or are they trying to poach other power conferences and try to make a play at Arizona, for example, or Colorado?
Yeah, as much as I'd like to pretend that Utah State would be in that conversation, they're probably behind a Boise State, Arizona State. Utah State probably ahead of Colorado State. The only, and I guess main appeal the Big 12 would have to bringing Utah State in, if what they want is mountain time zones to help BYU out, is, well, that can be a regional rivalry. But you can also get that with Boise State. And so that's why I think they would lean a lot more towards Boise State in that, while also maybe considering Arizona State. But those, while they're in the same time zone, that's not really a rivalry. Those two teams don't really care. Those two areas don't really care about each other.
Yeah, I think that, we'd love to think that Utah State would be on somebody's radar, but they're not, and they won't be. The Mountain West has several other schools, I'll say properties, that are far above USU in priority because of the market that they're in, the television viewership that they receive, their facilities, athletic budgets. Unfortunately, there are a lot of things that place schools above the Aggies. I would actually say Colorado State is got a ways ahead of Utah State. Their proximity to the Denver market, their facilities, their athletic budget. But the fact of the matter, getting to the question here, is what does the Mountain West do if it leaves or loses some of these schools? The Mountain West had its opportunity, they let it go by them. And they allowed the American Athletic Conference to take the schools that the Mountain West should have been looking after when AAC was looking for replacements from Houston and Cincinnati. And the Mountain West really should have gone deeper and expanded into Texas where they had opportunity, and they didn't, and they let it slip by. And now, what else is available? Yeah, there are some properties available, some schools available in Texas, but they're not nearly as desirable, and I don't know that it really helps the conference that much. But beyond that, really, there aren't very many other places to go.
Yeah,
you have to get for a lot more farther afield. Tulsa?
Yeah, you think Tulsa, North Texas?
UTEP?
Yeah, UTEP. Maybe New Mexico State. But just
yeah, those.
Each of those
really
have
help you.
Each of those things have a little New Mexico State would maybe improve the conference a little bit in basketball. They're horrible in football.
Oh, atrocious.
They've had 2 good years ever. That's worse than San Jose State.
Yes.
And there was the hope and prayer that maybe you could get Gonzaga to come here as a basketball-only school. That seems to be a pipe dream at this point. So, yeah, there's a handful that you can say, and there's things that you can like about them. North Texas has been okay in football. Granted, their best years were back 2017, 2018, and they've been kind of mediocre to below average since. But then I don't even know anything about North Texas in basketball. I don't even know if they're any good.
Yeah. Well, UTSA, I think North Texas was one of those that made the move here recently. So I don't even know if they'd be available anymore.
Yeah, they're in Conference USA, I think.
Yeah, but I think they're moving to the American Athletic.
Or are they moving there? Oh, then never mind.
Well, bottom line is there really aren't a lot of good options, but the Mountain West may just have to deal with, may have to invite somebody just to get to a healthy number, but because they could be poached from a couple different angles here, from both the Pac-12 and the Big 12.
It's kind of the exact same conversation we've been having about the Pac-12, where there's not a school out there that's up to the Pac-12 standards, so you got to lower your standards.
Right. Nobody checks all the boxes.
And that's the way it is for the Mountain West.
All right, quick timeout. We got more of your texts coming through. We'll get to those. We've got Utah State, San Jose State to preview. We got Super Bowl weekend. We've got high school hoops. We got Utah Jazz in action tonight. Love to continue to hear from you. 435-339-0321.
What do Valentine's Day and Jarek's have in common? They're both all about the romance. Jarek's Fine Jewelry has a great selection for your sweetheart. Don't sweat it out worrying about where to get the perfect gift. We've recently added a 3D laser engraver. Now through Valentine's, Jarek's will personalize any jewelry purchase for no additional charge. We can engrave a wedding date, a name, or any message on most jewelry, like a pendant, watch, bracelet, the inside or outside of a ring. This Valentine's, let us help personalize your gift and make it special. Make it Jarek's.
Copiers, printers, service, and supplies are just the beginning. Les Olson IT is the premier source for your business's structured cabling, IT, software, telephones, and security systems. We partner with you to find the ideal solution to all of your office technology needs. Tell us your goals and we'll get you there. Find out more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
Hi, this is Tyler. Recently, my father passed away, and White Pine provided the funeral services for our family. They were friendly, thoughtful, and attentive to every detail. You know, it isn't often that a loved one passes away, so it was very important to my family that everything be handled just right. Because my dad was loved by so many people, we had a lot of family and friends that traveled from out of town. I really appreciate how White Pine Funeral Services made sure everyone was comfortable and that the focus was where it needed to be, on my dad and my family. They really took care of us during this tender time.
Own a small business or a farm? You thought about solar? Listen up. A new USDA grant was announced allocating $300 million for farmers and small business owners to put in solar. That's right. The government will help you get solar installed, covering 40% of the cost. And don't forget, as a business, you can save up to 50 or 60% more with federal and state tax credits. Second Sun Solar will install your system and help with the USDA paperwork. Call Second Sun Solar today at 435-363-9917 or online at utahsolardirect.com.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is locally owned and operated inside the beautiful new Three Peaks Medical Plaza in North Logan. Expect the most cutting-edge techniques, qualified doctors, and friendly staff to ensure the highest quality patient care. The ENT providers have extensive training to properly treat ear, nose, and throat conditions for adults and children. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat serves all of northern Utah and southern Idaho, accepting most insurance products including SelectMed. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for appointments and details. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, located in North Logan and Providence.
Breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews. It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Yes, I'm Eric Frandsen. He's Jason Walker. This is 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. Also 1069thefan.com and 1069 The Fan mobile app. Go there and find our podcast with J.C. Carroll. The latest Light the A podcast was a ton of fun. Talking to J.C. Give yourself about 45 minutes because that's how long it took.
It's a long one.
And he took us around the world, really, with a lot of his stories and journey back here to Cache Valley. So go check that out. Really fun. Talking about his record, his playing days, Stephen Ashworth potentially breaking one of his records. So really fun. A couple of your texts coming through, 435-339-0321 if you want to chime in. 2305 asking or making the statement. I think one of the skills is to get a big man to just stand out there and hold his hands up and wave them like he's a big man. It's one of the jobs in the skills challenge.
Nice skill contest. I'm over here. I'm 6'11". Pass to me.
I do need to look that up. Who participates in the skills challenge and why? 9315, if the Big 12 takes Pac schools, does that mean that it falls apart and the leftovers come to the Mountain West? Utah would pair good with Utah or BYU or both.
Yeah, we'll see if the Pac-12 survives. Obviously, the Mountain West licking its chops at the prospect of the Pac-12 falling apart because that's best case scenario at this point. Worst case scenario is Pac-12 survives, poaches San Diego State, and Big 12 poaches Boise State because then at that point you're just like slightly better WAC, at least the way the WAC was a few years back.
Yeah, true. I mean, there's still a possibility the Big 10 gets involved with poaching more Pac-12 schools.
Yeah, and that's the way the Pac-12 falls apart is if the Big 12 maybe poaches, I don't know, what's the Arizona schools, and then if the Big 10 gets Oregon and Washington. At that point, the Pac-12 was just becoming slightly better Mountain West. And then maybe you start looking at, does the Pac-12 survive that?
Is there a way that they just join forces or still work independent of each other? I don't know.
Yeah.
Another quick timeout here in the Full Court Press and continue to get your thoughts. Utah Jazz with the trade the other day, and really in return, a couple of bench guys, a player they're going to buy out, and a first-round draft pick. How do you like the trade? And then also Utah State is in action tomorrow. We'll preview USU at San Jose. We got some high school hoops that are going on as well. We'll preview all that coming up on the Full Court Press.
set yourself apart from the competition? The Leadership MBA at Utah State University will help you lead companies and drive change in your organization. You can attend in person in Logan on Thursday evenings or take an interactive online class. Complete your MBA in as little as a year. Apply before March 1st to be considered for summer semester. Contact the MBA office for a waiver of the $55 application fee. Learn more at utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com.
The new Prodigy Brewing on Center Street in Logan offers an atmosphere that's vibrant, energetic, and friendly. Serving handmade juicy burgers, wood-fired pizzas, wings, nachos, and locally crafted beer while bringing a unique space to downtown Logan. Now offering lighter lunch options like personal-sized pizzas and sliders, or choose from your favorites like wings, beer cheese, fried pickles, and more. Stop by for a quick and delicious lunch that will get you back to work on time. Experience Prodigy Brewing, exceptional food, extraordinary service, and family-friendly on Center Street in downtown Logan.
It's never too late or too cold to get rid of that old vehicle. Now is the time to earn extra cash by calling DD Auto and Salvage. Let them pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy and fast to get rid of your junker vehicles by paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204 today.
See store for details.
Alpine Home Medical has been around for over 25 years. Can you believe that? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent. What keeps us coming to work every day? We're passionate about caring for you. From home and bathroom safety to transportation, mobility, recovery, oxygen, sleep, and more, come into any of our 10 locations today and let us take care of you.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit us at alpinehomemedical.com.
Happy Valentine's Day from Birch Creek and Bluebird Candy. Surprise your Valentine with the Birch Creek Couples League Punch Pass and a box of Bluebird chocolates. Birch Creek's Couples League will be starting up this spring, and your Valentine golfer would love a punch pass and box of chocolates. Pro Shop will be open February 14th from 10 to 4. So stop in and get your Valentine Punch Pass to Birch Creek and box of chocolates from the Bluebird. And happy Valentine's Day from your friends at Birch Creek.
This is Nate Lamson with Valley Office Systems, your home team when local matters. Valley Office Systems is your local provider for all things office, copiers, printers, furniture, and document management. Proudly serving Cache Valley since 2007. Visit valleyofficesystems.com.
Northern Utah and Southern Idaho's home for sports. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Get the things that your car needs to continue to operate well in cold weather at Napa Auto Parts. There's 5 locations between Preston and Providence. Save up to $19 a pair on silicone wiper blades. Get diesel additives at great prices. They're all in stock. And night vision headlights, just 50%. They're still 50% off. Go check it out, Napa Auto Parts. 5 locations between Preston and Providence. So there's this. Justin Zanuck, as we said earlier, has admitted that the Jazz are open to exploring the possibility of putting a Jazz jersey on Russell Westbrook and having him finish out the season in Utah. And, Jason, you don't think that could be necessarily a bad thing?
You want me to talk?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
You're
sure?
Good. You're good. Yeah.
So I've been somebody who's been on the, if the Jazz trade for Russell Westbrook, it's because they're getting the pick. You buy out Westbrook, don't ever let him be in a Jazz jersey. I've been on that bandwagon for a while, ever since the rumors first popped up. Then I had a thought, I think it was last night, because one of the things that I'm going to miss most about, the guys they traded away is going to be Mike Conley, being a good point guard and having a chance to have him work with Russell Westbrook, playing alongside Lauri Markkanen, just being an overall benefit in having a distributor, a guy you can run your offense through. They don't have that anymore. And while Westbrook isn't the perfect option to fill that, he's good. He's a guy who can get assists. He's not as much of a, you might say, maestro in terms of running an offense as Mike Conley was, but he's a good passer, and he can get assists, and he can run an offensive system pretty well. Granted, he's more used to it just playing off of him. But I think there's a world in which Russell Westbrook, if he plays within the system, if he wants to go out there and just get triple doubles and be all me, then buy him out, get him out of here. But if he comes in, wants to play within the system, is willing to go, do what Will Hardy says, don't be a me guy and just play how I want to and nothing else works. Play within the system and, run the offense, be the distributor, run the pick and roll with Walker Kessler and have a good balance there. Work with Lauri Markkanen, getting him lots of points in terms of, Westbrook draws a lot of attention when he's playing at his best, and that helps Markkanen. So if Westbrook can kind of do that, I wouldn't really mind him being on the Jazz and playing there because there's some benefit to that. Now, there's some ifs in there.
Yeah,
there's some real ifs, and I want to make sure everyone knows that, and I'm not suddenly completely flipping. I'm just saying there is a world in which I'd be okay with it.
Still no word officially from the Jazz. They have announced the other players coming to the Jazz and the players that the Jazz have shipped out in the trades, but Utah Jazz officially have not said anything about Russell Westbrook to this point. We'll continue to talk about that and preview Utah State at San Jose State coming up next hour on the Full Court Press.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The Super Bowl is the biggest stage in all of sports, but this year's matchup may have a little extra draw. Throughout the season, many claim the Eagles and Chiefs were in a league of their own, and after 3 weeks of postseason play, the two teams have only confirmed that theory. Both teams feature an elite scheme and a great quarterback. Travis Kelce and A.J. Brown are top-tier talents on offense, and both teams have a dangerous pass rush that can take over a game. Not to mention the Eagles' offensive line is the best in all of football. As things stand today, the Eagles are currently listed as slight favorite as we continue to approach Sunday's game. But with the experience of Andy Reid, the greatness of Patrick Mahomes, taking out a team like Kansas City won't be easy. So I wouldn't beat yourself up about picking a winner this weekend, because when it's all said and done, it should be fun to watch the two best teams in football square off in Super Bowl 57. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.